protests across the country bringing immigration to the forefront once again. So what are the people saying about it? Well, we have just the guy. Our pal, Cliff Young, president of polling at Ipsos, is back up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
It's great to be here.
Hey, before we get to anything here, I want to ask you, because I see a lot of familiar themes this time around versus the last Trump administration. Are you seeing them too? A lot of these familiar themes?
The economy, immigration, efficiency of the government, we're seeing all the same issues, yeah. Primarily immigration. That's what really sort of immobilizes the base, and that's what he's hammering home right now.
Yeah, all right, so let's talk about some of the new numbers we're seeing right now that everybody at Ipsos, they're compiling right now, and let's talk about immigration, because you and I have said what would be the defining issue for 2024, and at the time it's the economy. Now immigration, it's not top of mind as maybe you might think.
Well, it's there, right?
Okay.
It's in the top three. Really, we've had the economy, which is red, competing against threats to democracy, which is green. See how it's kind of like they've traded off as number one and number two.
Yeah.
Trump won on the economy, won
Sure.
on cost of living. But there always is consistently immigration. And by the way, it's the #1 issue among Republicans.
But what's interesting is because Democrats tried to make 2024 so much about the perceived threats to democracy. And you see here, it was #2 above the economy. Then it flip-flopped right around February and March.
Yeah, well, they lost.
Yeah, right.
Because they made it #1.
There's that, right.
It wasn't #1.
Yeah.
And what is going on here? This green, this sort of, this is basically Trump pushing tariffs. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of friction, a lot of noise. People didn't like it. He stepped off. When he stepped off the gas, it sort of resided a bit, and the economy came back as #1 issue.
We should point out that as #1 once again. All right, job approval rating right now. President Trump's numbers dropping a little bit. Of course, you always have the honeymoon early on, and is this normal that you go until March when you're still above water?
Yeah. I mean, let's just look at the positive side, which is the black. He was about 51% when he started. Mm-hmm. That's a relatively good place for him. It's better than his first round, or 1.0. Sort of tapered off. That's normal.
Yeah, sure.
Right? He was a little bit worse than the average in terms of the decline. But look at right here, the dip. And that's tariff. Those are tariffs. That's Trump pushing it. People not liking it.
Yeah.
You know, bankers not liking it. Business not liking it. The average Joe and Jane not liking it. But once he stepped off the gas, he's come back. By the way, he's in a fairly good point or position at 48% approval. Yeah. That's a good place to be right now.
It really, especially when you consider how divided everything is and how everybody seems to be. Immigration, though, the approval when it comes to that topic here.
There's a little bit going on with immigration today. Maybe in the United States, just a tad.
Just a bit.
Yeah, exactly. We're really focused on LA right now.
So we should point out net percent approval here.
Yeah, this is where he is in terms of immigration. He's positive over the first part of the administration, the first little bit, the first few months. This is his strongest issue relative to all the other issues. But look at what's happened over the last little bit once again. He's lost some steam there, lots of friction. There's not a lot of consensus around immigration, and we see that reflected in his numbers.
Okay, so when it comes to immigration, this was something that's mentioned, President campaigned on this. We saw at the RNC, mass deportation. Now, there are a lot of people, this is what they wanted to see. They wanted to see this big operation here, but how they're doing it seems to be a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, so in general, there are a number of points with most Americans agree, like the deportation of illegals who are criminals. Mm-hmm. Everyone agrees, but not children, right?
Yeah.
And what we're seeing here is a lot of polarization, a lot of partisan differences in terms of the policies, a lot of friction and noise. People don't like it. Right here, only 35% of people agree. Lots of words here, but what's going on? Basically, agreement with deporting parents who are illegals, but their children are American citizens.
Gotcha.
Not a lot of agreement there. Only 35% of Americans agree with it. 56% of Republicans, 14% of Democrats. This sort of partisan division we see across the board when it comes to immigration.
Yeah, but on this side, this is about just the all-out effort to arrest those who are here illegally.
Yeah, so has the administration gone too far, yes or no? Only about half of Americans say yes, or they agree with it. But look at Democrats. 87% of Democrats, 14% of Republicans. Republicans. This is the tale of two Americas once again.
All right, just about out of time, but when it comes to the constitutional rights of immigrants, because this has been a major topic too, habeas corpus and everything else.
Once again, America's divided.
Shocker.
Yeah, Republicans want it to go faster. It would take too long to give trials of millions of immigrants without legal status before deporting them. 75% of Republicans agree, only 26% of Democrats, huge partisan divide. Once again, there isn't consensus on this issue.
Yeah, well, go figure with that. All right, so we've moved on. We've had you on talking about 100 days, 100 days, 100 days. We're well beyond that. Immigration, that's what we're going to be watching for the most part for the next couple of weeks, it seems?
I think so. I think the tariff issue he had to step off of.
Yeah.
And we won't see the effect of that from an economic perspective until midsummer. They're going to hammer home on immigration because that's really their bailiwick, their key issue.
All right, Cliff Young joining us here on the Final Five. Good to see you again.
Thanks, man.
We appreciate you as always, and stick around. When we come back, it is time for the third block.